Some time ago I made a video of this calculator which I turned into a timer. I did that by putting a transistor across the equal sign so that I can electronically press the equal sign. I then installed an accurate time base which pulses at once a second, and thus it's able to push the equal sign once each second. That is, I can put in 1 plus 1, turn on the time base, and it will count up in seconds, and I can also count down in seconds. In this video I want to show you how I put the transistor across the equal sign, and I'm going to do that by showing you a different calculator, and we'll go through the process. This is a very cheap dollar store calculator. I opened up the calculator. I found the traces that go to the equal sign. I wasn't able to solder the wires. Instead, what I did is I stripped off about a 2-inch length. I laid it upon the trace, and then I used a piece of Scotch tape to tape it into place. So these two wires go across the equal sign inside the calculator. The first step that we need to take is determine which lead is positive and which lead is negative. We can do that very simply with the voltmeter. Okay, I now have the voltmeter connected across the two leads. I'll turn on the calculator, and I see I'm reading plus 1.278 volts. So I know that this common is the negative, and that goes to this terminal to the left, and I know that the positive is this terminal to the right. Let me show you the schematic we're going to be using. Here's our schematic. This is the calculator. We've just found that one lead is the negative and one lead is the positive. I'm going to be using a 2N3904 NPN transistor. Just about any common NPN transistor will work. And the 2N3904 with the flat side facing you in this orientation, the left terminal is the emitter, the center is the base, and the right side is the collector. And here's how we connect it up. This is the negative lead coming from the equal sign. That goes to the emitter. The positive lead from the equal sign goes to the collector. And then I place a resistor on the base. And this is where we put our input pulses, our electronic input pulses. For instance, if we were going to run this off of an LM555, the negative power supply lead from this circuit that's powering the 555 would go to the calculator negative. The output, pin 3 of the 555, would go to the resistor. That is, this would go right in through the resistor to the base. And that's all there is to it. It's very simple. Let me show this to you in operation. Since the leftmost lead is the negative and the right lead is the positive, I can directly plug in a 2N3904 into the breadboard. Next, put in a resistor. Now, if I take the calculator and put in 1 plus 1 equals, you can see every time I hit equals, it goes up. Now, this is the lead that goes to the collector, which is the positive lead. If I touch that to the resistor, which goes to the base, you can see we count up. So the transistor is turning on and off as I tap it. This is a 1.2 k ohm resistor, or a 12 k ohm resistor. I just picked that out of the air. There's no particular reason that I use that value, but it works. You might have to use a smaller one, but as you can see, that every time I tap it, turns the transistor on and counts up. If I was to put in something like 1 plus 3 equals, it'll count up by 3s, etc. But let's just go back to 1 plus 1, and I'll hook this up to a function generator. So first I've got to connect the negative to the negative, and then this goes to the resistor. And I've got it turned on. First, let me set up the calculator. 1 plus 1 equals. Okay, and when I connect this up, now you can see it's counting up in increments of 1. I can adjust this to go slower, or I can go faster. You can't go too fast. It has a limit of how fast it can count, but this could be used for various counting operations. You could also use a reed switch and use it to count the revolutions of a shaft or something like that. Once again, there's the circuit. It's very simple. This resistor, I've used a 4.7 and I've used a 12K. They both worked equally well. And hook up your wires and you should be in business. And it can be a very simple way of making a counter. And I hope this is helpful. I appreciate any comments or suggestions.